Analyzing now. New product confirmed. Launching product review.
Hey there, and what is going on, everybody? Today I have a pretty cool lens review. It's a new APS-C lens for the Nikon Z mount, so it's a DX lens. This guy is the brand new 11mm lens from Yongnuo. This lens did just release. I have the packaging right here. This is what it looks like. Yongnuo did send me this lens for promotion for me to be able to check out and review for you guys, but I did not accept any money from them. It is not a paid sponsorship, so I am entitled to my own opinion and tell you whatever I think about the lens itself. Although I have to say it is a exceptionally good lens, especially factoring in the price. It's coming in at about $280, and like I mentioned, it's basically brand new. It just got released. Now you can buy it from them directly. It will probably soon find itself for sale on Amazon as well. But right now they are offering a free included lens remote for you to be able to wirelessly control the camera with the purchase of this lens right now. So there's a lot to like about this lens, and not just the focal length. All right, you guys, so here is a look at the lens out of the box. It does come with this nice lens hood, standard pedal design, and this guy is rocking a what feels like an all metal build. Now, as mentioned, this is an 11mm, so in terms of full frame equivalence, we're looking at about a 16, so perfectly adequate for vlogging and whatnot. That way you have that nice wide field of view and have plenty of room to fit whatever you need in your frame. The lens construction does feature 10 overall elements in 9 groups and has a 7 aperture bladed diaphragm and a minimum f-stop of f16. Minimum focusing distance is coming in at a fairly impressive 0.15 meters, and for the driving system it uses a digital stepping motor. For the time that I've had this lens and tested it out, I can confirm that it works excellent, is able to focus just as fast as OEM glass, and is virtually silent, so no issues to report there. One thing that I do have to mention when I tested for flare control is it's surprisingly subdued. These are really good results, again, especially considering the price point that this lens is coming in at. So whatever coatings that they're using certainly seem to be doing a good job. Now, if I take the lens cap off, you do see you have the YN lens branding. And let me go ahead and take this filter off. As you guys can see, it does feature a 58mm filter diameter. And if you're curious about the weight, this guy comes in at about 290 grams. Here is a look at the bottom of the chassis. Now, Yongnuo does not state for this lens to have any weather resistance, but I can tell you right here, as you can probably see, let's see if I can punch in and we can do a little bit of macro. There is actually a fairly substantial lip or gasket on here, and it feels like a thick gasket, like a high quality one, not something just cheap that you would slap on here. So that's pretty cool. I love that. I do consider it a standard now these days, and this lens gets a pass. Now, aside from that, this lens does have a Type-C port, so you can update the lens firmware. I actually almost didn't notice it had this because it comes with a little grommet in here and it fits perfectly flush, so you almost wouldn't even notice it if you weren't looking for it. So kind of cool. Aside from that, we do have the focus ring, which is excellently damped. It's a little bit on the loose side for my taste, but the dampening is perfectly evened. We do have a aperture or control ring that works just as good, has excellent feeling. We also have a mode switch toggle for 1 and 2, and we have not 1, but 2 function buttons, which at this price point is almost unheard of, I believe. Anyway, button 1, button 2, nice and tactile. They work great on the camera body itself. And yeah, just overall an excellently well-built metal lens. But it's so small, it still really doesn't feel that heavy. Anyway, let me go ahead and throw it on the Z50 Mark II that I have. And this is how it looks on the camera. Looks pretty great in my opinion. I will take as much Z mount glass as I can get my hands on. pretty good looking lens on the camera. And you guys can see right there, we do have this really wide field of view. So that's in photo mode. If we switch it on over to video, it's actually kind of perfect because these APS-C Nikon cameras do not currently have any IBIS. So there's no IBIS module in it. But on the plus side, the electronic digital stabilization works exceptionally well. It does come at the cost of a fairly significant crop though. I would say it's probably about 30%. It's probably like a 30% crop if I had to guess. But with a lens like this, to where it's coming in at 16 millimeters, you can crop in and have plenty of room still, no problem. So you can still comfortably vlog with the digital stabilization added to this lens. So if you're going to be vlogging, this is the lens to do it on. Now you can probably see if I press the function buttons, it's automatically preset for a focus hold, and the other one does an exposure lock, but of course you can remap them in the customize section in the menus. Now I do also want to mention that this lens is freaking sharp. Even at f1.8, there might be some slight softness around the edges, but as far as in the center, it is dead tack sharp. I've noticed that that is pretty consistent along the aperture range as well. I love using this prime fast glass on these new Nikon bodies. I'm loving the Nikon color science and everything that these lenses can bring out with it. All right, so jumping back to here, I'm going to show you guys briefly how these two guys work. Now, I did already pair the remote commander. That's fairly easy. All you really do is go into menu and Bluetooth remote control options or wireless remote. Make sure that's on, and then you should be able to pair it no problem from there. Now it does have an off and on switch, and you can multi-point pair it, so you can select either connection A, connection B, or all. Then you guys can kind of see as I press the plus and minus, it'll punch in and out. If I press the shutter button, it will go ahead and trigger an actuation. Same with the video record button. You can see right there, it can start and stop recording. There's also a custom one that is initially set to preview, and depending on the mode you're in for the AF, it might initially go into menu settings. But all in all, straightforward, very useful little remote. Now the other one, I figured we could go ahead and pair together. Since it's a little bit different setup, it pairs with the lens wirelessly itself rather than the camera. So let's go ahead and do that. So quick overview of the device. You have an off and on toggle, the function button, the dial itself, and then function buttons 1 and 2 or A and B. Let's go ahead and turn it on. That way the green is showing. You can see it is stating that it's unpaired. So the first thing we're going to want to do is make sure the lens is set to, it's switched to 1. And then we're going to go ahead and long press on our custom button. So we're going to long press and hold it, and we're going to turn off the camera while holding it still and turn it back on. We're going to wait for it. And you can see right there, it switched to displaying F8. That means it's basically in pairing mode. At this point, we want to press the dial itself. Okay, you can see it went to pairing mode and then it failed, probably because this went ahead and timed out. Let's see. Let's go ahead and try it one more time. I'm gonna hold it, turn the camera off, turn it back on. Okay, so it's at F8, long press, and you can see it displays 11 mil right there, meaning that it is paired up. So that was my fault because I let the camera time out and it kicked it out of the pairing mode, which was indicated by F4 instead of the F8. So now it's paired up. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, make sure that your camera is in manual focus mode for this. And you guys can see right there. So as I twist the dial along, you can see that it's racking the focus. So nice, smooth focus pull. Really nice. We also do have full control of the aperture. Hopefully it's not too hard for you guys to see, but let's see, whoops. So you can probably see I'm just dialing the aperture value, opening it and closing it from the command dial. And then I just went ahead and pressed it once, and now it's back to manually focusing. So keep in mind, this is all wireless, so this can definitely be pretty useful. I really don't know of another electronic lens like this that can be paired by itself with just the lens to one of these devices. I believe you can also set a focus rack point, so you can set it to move from A to B by locking it on point A and point B, which is really cool. Also, the focus breathing on this lens is really well controlled, so that's something to be praised. So we're going to be doing a very basic image quality and detail test. Now, I want to start by saying I know my lane, and there are plenty of other great reviewers out there that will go into far more detail than I ever could when it comes to this and the nuances of the optics. But I do want to go ahead and share some of the pictures and the colors that this produced, along with some observations that I've made. Now, I'm just going to start us off by going through some of these pictures I took of this switch set. That way you guys can see the JPEGs as well as the RAWs. Now, starting off, as much as I kind of hate to admit it, this 20 megapixel sensor still holds up. You know, it's old AF. I know a lot of us wish that they would update it for a higher megapixel one, but in truth, it does hold up detail-wise for the 21 megapixels that it does have. Now, along with that, I do see that there is notable vignetting, and it is apparent on the RAW files as well as the JPEGs, because even if you enable lens corrections, Lightroom does not have a profile for it. It's just not here, at least as far as right now. But you can see here is a basic full image size JPEG in the vivid color profile. Here's a RAW. And yes, you do have some notable vignetting around the corners, but frankly, that is to be expected at a lens that is this wide, as well as with it being stopped down to f1.8. I pretty much expect it, and you know, as far as what I care about it, to me, it just kind of adds character. So if we stop over to f2.8, you can see, if anything, it's probably a tad bit sharper. I mean, it's definitely still tagged sharp right in the middle, and I want to say it's a little bit sharper than the prior. Here's f4, continues to clean up. I'm looking primarily in this center. I do expect around the edges to be softer. Here we are at f5.6, starting to see a little bit of noise, but you know, I'm punching in pretty far here on a 20 megapixel image. As far as the overall image quality, to me, this is excellent. The color reproduction definitely stands up. It's plenty sharp. Here we are at f8 and f11, and I did kind of, you can see the vignetting does kind of lighten up as we move from wide open at f1.8 to 11, but there is still a little bit there. But regardless, it produces overall very, very pleasing images. Alrighty, you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video off. Hope this video answered any questions that you may or may not have had about the lens, or at least got to see it hands-on in action. If you guys do have more or additional questions, drop them in the comments down below. Thank you again to Yongnuo for sending out this lens for me to review. It is an excellent addition to the Nikon APS-C lineup. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.